Kidnapped from home. I'm aware that this might be a bit long, but this is probably the scariest event of my life. So, when I was 9 years old, I lived in Mexico, and let's just say that it wasn't a particularly peaceful year when it came to crime. At that point, I was living with just my mom in my childhood home up in the mountains near a forest which, full disclosure, I absolutely loved, since I was a big fan of nature. One night, I woke up from an absolutely horrible nightmare, and I quickly made my way to my mom's room to wake her up because I was so panicked. After I stopped crying, I got into her bed with her, and we were falling asleep. I told her that I didn't want to live in that house anymore, and all my mom said was, "Oh, it's okay, dear. I promise, this is the last night you have to sleep in this house, okay?" And that was indeed a haunting promise that was kept. We were woken up while it was still dark by my dog barking non-stop outside. My mom got out of bed grumbling about him being so loud that early that it made her way to the front door, and that led to the front garden where my dog was yapping away. We had an alarm system on the doors and windows, so I just heard my mom deactivate it in order to check what was going on with my dog. I was still laying in bed because I was cold, and it was still too early to go to bed when I heard my mom scream, which caused me to stand up and call for her. And then, not even 30 seconds later, a man dressed fully in black and wearing a balaclava came into the room and told me to get dressed, and I quickly did as I was told. They took me to the living room where two men, dressed exactly the same as the one who got me, had my mom with a bandage over her eyes. I just remember her begging the three men to leave us alone, telling them where her wallet and her valuables were. But one of them just said, "That's not why we are here!" And after that, they proceeded to put pillowcases over our heads and shoved us into the trunk of our car. After this, the rest of the events were a bit fuzzy, since it was hard to tell time and our sight was so limited. They hid us somewhere in the forest, hidden between a rock wall and a bed mattress. I can't really say how long we were there, and I have vague memories of one of the men's back that I caught a glimpse of when I peeked under the pillowcase. All my mother did was pray non-stop. One, because she truly believed in God, but two, additionally, because Mexicans are extremely religious, and it might dissuade them from killing a mother and a child. After being moved to another location, inside a seemingly abandoned house, they called my family to ask for a ransom. We couldn't really hear most of the conversations, but the man we nicknamed the Mean One felt the need to tell me that my father didn't love me, and that they were going to send him a few of my fingers if he didn't pay up. Shortly after that, we were loaded into another car, where my mom started begging one of the men not to kill us. They drove around for what felt like hours until they stopped and dragged us out and told us to get on our knees. At this point, I remember my mother was certain that we were going to get shot, so she asked that if they did so, to shoot me first in order for me not to hear my own mother die. The men said nothing, and we abruptly heard the car peel out and my mother just screamed at me to run as fast as I could. We ran for a few minutes and then saw a residential area where we started frantically knocking the doors, hoping that the kidnappers didn't plan on coming back for us. To our desperation, nobody in the first two houses opened their door, when suddenly an old man opened up at the third house, and after trying to explain to him and seeing the state we were in, he let us come in and call my father. After he picked up the phone, all I could do is cry after hearing his voice. He came to get us, and that night was the first and last time I ever saw my father cry.